Now, I really want Star Trek to do a series like Marvel's What If. Star Trek has always been a franchise built on imagination, speculation, and the exploration of possibility. Its core strength lies in asking, what if humanity had evolved into something better? But within its long history, it has also left behind countless tantalizing questions. What if Kirk had stayed with Edith Keeler? What if Picard had accepted Q's offer of godhood? What if Sisko had rejected the Prophet's path entirely? Marvel's What If series gave audiences alternate takes on beloved heroes, radical divergences from canon that reimagined familiar events with new outcomes. And the results were thrilling. Suddenly, Peggy Carter became Captain Carter, Killmonger saved Tony Stark, and Doctor Strange plunged into darkness. The fun was in seeing characters we loved twisted into new forms without breaking the original universe. Star Trek is the perfect candidate for its own What If anthology. It has decades of continuity, beloved characters, pivotal turning points, and stories shaped by single choices. A Star Trek version could embrace bold hypotheticals, freeing writers from canon constraints while deepening the audience's love for the franchise. Here's why Trek needs its own multiverse-style experiment and what episodes it could give us. Star Trek already flirts with what if. Star Trek has dipped into this territory before. The Next Generation's Yesterday's Enterprise is one of the most celebrated alternate history episodes in Trek, showing us a darker Federation locked in a brutal war with the Klingons. Deep Space Nine gave us the Mirror Universe saga, where everyone's morality was flipped and power reigned supreme. Even Voyager and Enterprise played with timeline shifts, paradoxes, and futures that might have been. But these were one-off experiments bound by the necessity of resetting the timeline. Imagine if those alternate realities weren't just temporary curiosities, but entire episodes or even seasons that stood on their own. Freed from the weight of continuity, Star Trek could explore its characters with new intensity and creativity, while giving fans endless fuel for debate. The appeal of Trek's What If, the joy of Star Trek's own What If, would be twofold. First, it would allow beloved characters who are gone or actors who have aged out of their roles to return in creative ways, animated, recast, or even de-aged. Second, it would embrace the core Trek tradition of using allegory to examine contemporary issues. Each alternate universe story could take a theme, power, morality, sacrifice, destiny, and spin it out in ways Trek has never dared. Unlike Marvel's What If, Star Trek's anthology wouldn't just be about cool reversals or shocking character turns. It would carry Trek's philosophical weight. What if Vulcans had chosen emotion over logic? What if the Federation had become imperialist? What if humanity had never left Earth? These aren't just hypotheticals, they're thought experiments on who we are and who we might become. 10. What if episode Star Trek could do? To show how incredible this idea could be, here are 10 possible stories of Star Trek What If anthology could explore. 1. What if Edith Keeler lived? The original series. In The City on the Edge of Forever, Kirk allowed Edith Keeler to die to preserve history. But what if he had saved her? Would humanity still have entered World War II at the right time? Would Earth be conquered by fascism? Or could Edith's pacifist movement have built a better galaxy? A tragic romance could transform into a story about the cost of moral conviction. 2. What if Spock embraced emotion? The original series. Spock's half-human heritage was always a source of tension. In this alternate world, what if Spock rejected Vulcan logic entirely and lived as a fully emotional being? How would that have changed his role on the Enterprise or his friendship with Kirk and McCoy? Would he have been a more relatable leader or a volatile risk? 3. What if Locutus of Borg never left? The Next Generation. Picard was rescued from the Borg in The Best of Both Worlds. But what if he never returned? What if Locutus fully assimilated Earth, reshaping the Federation into a Borg-human hybrid? This could be a terrifying glimpse at humanity's future, and a chance to see Riker or Data leading a desperate rebellion. 4. What if Sisko never trusted the prophets? Deep Space Nine. Sisko's destiny as the emissary guided his entire arc. But what if he had refused? If Sisko rejected the Bajoran religion, would Bajor have fallen back into chaos? Would Ducat's ambitions have succeeded? A story of skepticism versus faith could turn DS9 into a much darker tale. 5. What if Voyager never left the Alpha Quadrant? Voyager, instead of being stranded 70 years away from home, what if Janeway and her crew had remained in Federation space? Would the Maquis and Starfleet crews have still learned to work together? Or would they have become enemies? This alternate Voyager could explore the political conflicts of the 24th century instead of survival stories. 6. What if Khan won? The original series / Wrath of Khan. Khan Noonien Singh is one of Trek's greatest villains. But what if Kirk had lost in the Wrath of Khan? Imagine a Federation toppled by Khan's brilliance and fury, with the genetically enhanced ruling over the galaxy. This would be Trek's darkest alternate timeline, with only a ragtag rebellion left to resist. 7. What if Janeway joined the Borg? Voyager, Janeway made some of Star Trek's most controversial decisions. Imagine an alternate reality where she allied with the Borg to guarantee Voyager's return home. Would she become a tyrant in pursuit of survival? Or could she bend the Borg into something new? 8. What if Data became captain? The Next Generation. Data's struggle with humanity defined his arc. What if he had succeeded Picard as captain of the Enterprise? How would a purely logical, non-emotional leader handle exploration or war? Could he inspire a crew the way Picard did, or would his cold perfection alienate everyone? 9. What if Kirk never died? Generations / Beyond. Kirk died in Generations, twice if you count the Nexus paradox. But what if he had lived to lead in the 24th century? Imagine Kirk at odds with Picard, two captains with clashing philosophies, forced to command side by side. 10. What if the Federation fell? All Trek, the ultimate what-if question. What if the Federation itself collapsed? A galaxy of chaos, piracy, and fractured alliances could serve as Trek's most radical divergence. Would a new order emerge, or would darkness swallow everything Starfleet stood for? The format, animated or live action? Marvel solved its actor problem by going animated, using stylized art to let characters appear as they were in their prime. Star Trek could do the same, with animation allowing Kirk, Spock, Picard, Janeway, and others to appear ageless. This would free Trek to revisit classic characters without recasting or awkward digital de-aging. Alternatively, live action could work if Trek embraced recasting, as Strange New Worlds already has with Pike, Spock, and Uhura. Audiences have shown they're open to fresh interpretations of iconic roles. A mix of both might even be the best route. Animated for sweeping multiverse epics, live action for intimate character choice stories. Why Trek fans would love it. Fans often debate turning points in Trek history. Was Janeway right to destroy the caretaker array? Should Sisko have poisoned a planet to stop the Maquis? Did Kirk really need to let Edith Keeler die? A what if style series would bring those debates to life, offering alternate outcomes without undoing canon. It would also